seems to be working. All right. Well, we are about to kick off our recap of the previous, almost a year ago when we stopped. Let's jump over to the studio. We're going to kick this thing off right now. Okay, so it's been almost a year since we were doing Dark Heresy. Well, here we are, Dark Heresy, back when we left off, but it's been so long, we're going to be recapping, and we have everybody in the chat right now. We're going to bring them in, well, now.
He's totally...
Just for my little dog.
Who's dying? Who's dead? What?
Hello?
Hello.
It looks like we're back and we're ready. Are you guys ready to begin?
Yes.
All right. Okay, so we're going to take it all the way back because it's been a year or whatever, and there's a lot that went on. I know that we started off with 2 characters for each of you, and you weren't exactly sure in the beginning why, and then it became apparent after the first session, correct? Why you had 2 characters each?
I do believe that's correct.
I think so. Do you mind breaking down for me? Let's just start with whoever feels the most gumption in their gut. Where we are, what's happening, what is this place?
I'm nothing if not full of gumption. So we all are on a hive world. Insert number of hive world here. And at least for our past entourage, because our characters are divided between members in the past and members in the present, we were dealing with the very recent and very catastrophic flooding of one of the floors of our hive world. Mm-hmm. We have 4 of them in total. Floor 4 got fucked. Mm-hmm. Truly tragic. Millions of people dead. A whole refugee sort of conflict, as well as a humanitarian crisis of trying to figure out how to save those people specifically. And that's the thing that is the main priority in saving people, and not at all getting workers back to work in order for our kelp harvest to go off without a hitch due to our very interested investors and third-party providers. Yeah, so we got a flooded Hive City, and we're trying to get everybody back in order to get the machines running again.
The human machines running, yeah. And that was the past.
Correct.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Okay. And that was where some of you went, because there was a horrible problem, huge flooding. Some of you were sent down to the past. Who was our first past session? Because we were divided. One in the future, you didn't know it at the time, or one in the present, I guess. One in the past. Where was our past crew? Who were they?
Past crew. I was past crew.
I was past crew.
It was D-Beck and the gals. Yeah. Yep. And you guys were sent to do what?
Reconnaissance.
Yes.
To see what was going on down there, because they wanted to drain it, but also get as many people out as possible. That was the secondary mission. And we actually turned out to be heroes because we saved a bunch of people.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did save a bunch of people. We were reconnaissance for what, though? Because I don't think because we didn't know that things were filling up at that time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they wanted us to see what the situation looked like.
Weird.
Yeah, there was like vibrations or sounds or something like that. Like
kind of like
engines had started up or something.
Yeah.
And we weren't really sure what that was. And then while we were down there, all the walls opened up and
that's right.
The floor flooded. And then we had a quick maneuver where we were able to try and help save some people, but most of the people were dead.
Yeah, because we couldn't get the the outer doors were open, and so that's how the water was getting in, and they could send in flight crews, kind of.
After
Yeah,
the flooding
yeah.
started. Yeah.
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 So let's talk a little bit about why that is possible. Because anybody who is listening right now who's an avid 40K fan, which, by the way, if they are an avid 40K fan, you'll know that the worlds of 40K are so vast you can make up any scenario you want, and it's plausible within the universe of nearly infinite potentials. So, why is there flooding in a hive city? Normally, a hive city is just a city that's so big that it's effectively just an entity. Why is this hive city capable of sudden floods? What is
We're on.
this kelp situation?
We are on a water world that's usually frozen, but there is like a thawing period in which we harvest stuff from the ocean around us, namely kelp. And then that's our major product.
Major export. Yeah.
And so this is this
Primarily
is
the
what
oil.
that we refine from
Yep.
the kelp.
Yeah.
So everybody's gearing up for that, and it was a time of usually a festive time of year.
Everybody's gonna get back to work.
And
Yep.
then disaster struck.
Yeah, there was a problem.
Because those locks hadn't been opened in a long time.
Normally there
Yes, in fact,
aren't. What?
nobody knew. No, I don't think anybody knows how that happened so far. Like nobody can remember when the last time they were opened, if ever. But clearly the mechanism is there for that to happen. We just don't know anything about it.
This hive city, for people who know a little about hive cities, there aren't normally defensive walls of that nature around, but due to the summer thaw, spring and summer thaw, where the ice that covers most of the world thaws, it has a kind of tidal rush. And so there are these walls with a major locking mechanism that has opened, and that's what the flooding for floor 4 was. And it seemed to happen after these trembles, these earthquake-like shakes were felt through the hive for a couple days. And our future crew was experiencing what at this time? What was happening? So we have at the
We
same
were going
time,
to a party.
yeah.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
right. We went to a spectacular party. I almost forgot about that.
We should probably also say, you guys are cops. You're special space cops. You're kind of
Space
like
guy.
special FBI. I guess the Punisher style space cops. Our buddies,
Judge Dredd.
yeah, very Judge Dredd. You guys get to do pretty much whatever you want, and as long as you don't piss off the rich people who employ you.
Yeah, because there's regular cops, and that's the Planetary Defense Force, and we're the Arbites. We're the special space cops.
Okay, so you went to a party. Sounds lovely. What happened?
Well,
The goal was for us to secure funding for the Arbites office. It's a sort of well-to-do fundraiser situation where we rub elbows with the elite. Functionally, we become paper dress-up dolls so that our superior officers can be like, look, we're doing such great work. Look at these examples of that great work. There's a guy. Look at him in all of his Arbite glory. Just like look at him.
Some schmoozing. A little bit. Just a little bit of, hey, remember how you didn't have to deal with the pores or look at them? That's us, baby. Let's get that check.
We were being pimped out.
A little bit. A little bit. In the
Oh, they
most
didn't know the plan, really.
generous way, yeah. Okay.
Come to find out that the function was created by, I believe, the Biotes with the intention of honoring their guest of honor, which was a visiting Inquisitor.
Yeah.
Inquisitor being in delicate little air quotes. Visiting Inquisitor.
Yeah, because it not. Well, go on, please.
The idea being the Inquisitor was coming to town, the Biotis were hosting, and they wanted to use that as their little jump-off pivot sort of Charlie horse situation to be like, hey, the Inquisitor's coming. We're going to throw a party, but also we're going to smooze in and help the Arbites make some money. And by the Arbites, it's us.
Ooh,
The
and
Inquisitors in air quotes because of later, because the Inquisitor is basically on a thesis project.
Yep.
We'll get to that.
To be.
But basically, the Arbites were responsible for securing funding for their office, and we did it. All of the schmoozing and handshaking was very successful, and Petal made conversation with a nice man at the buffet table
Yeah.
who told him not to eat the seafood.
Yeah, well, yeah, it was a delicacy. I think is what
Tessa.
you guys had there. Anything else about the party? Anything fun?
yes.
What's up?
The last part of the party was well before the actual party kickoff, but I think our Bites kind of like rolled out before that. Was that they were gonna drain floor 4 and make it usable again.
They'd found a way that they believed they could do it.
Yes. And that was what they were announcing, along with their oh goodness, thank you, Inquisitor, for coming to our beautiful planet.
Certainly cause for celebration.
Yes.
Wow. Okay. Was there anything strange about the party? What happened? Yeah, I mean, it's not usually noteworthy if everything goes well. Was there any kind of a complication?
A woman was seduced by the delicate schmoozings of an Arbite to visit some office chairs.
That's true.
No.
The finest chairs there ever have been. Someone in an aluminum foil hat, or perhaps the hat wasn't there yet. I don't remember when the hat came into play.
Oh, no, it was there.
I thought it was.
It was
That was part of the charm. That was like one of the most important, I think, key roles to the charm working out, wasn't it? Was it? Am I wrong?
I believe it was, yes.
Of course.
Kind of, it was the icebreaker, 100%. No pun intended.
I love it. So,
I believe also there was a fight over a coat. I do remember that.
there was a coat. So you guys were smuggling in a coat. Smuggling out
Smuggling out a coat.
Smuggling out a coat. That's right. I'd forgotten about that. I don't even have the coat in my note. I have no
do.
coat note,
It's
but I
because-
remember it.
It's because when Petal was walking in, there was a malfunctioning servo skull that instead of taking articles of clothing from the well-to-do,
That's
was
right.
dispensing them.
Whatever, free coat. Now, okay. So everything went well, and then
Yeah, and then after the party, Fidus actually noticed that there were some of the Mechanicum and the Inquisitors were outside of the party, and they left towards like a hall of sorts. So Fidus decided to sneak and kind of see what was going on.
And follow them.
Yeah, followed suit.
and somebody detected you, but they couldn't find you because I remember you rolled particularly well.
Right.
You
Like
knew
I got
something
out of
was
there, but I don't know if they saw me or not. I don't know any details, but
Someone,
mission went on.
I do have in my notes that they detected somebody was listening, but it wasn't something that they knew it was you. You pulled
Right.
off your rolls to make it a stealthy one. I know you were actually geared toward that, right?
Yeah, it's kind
Yeah.
of his, one
But-
of his go-tos.
It's a good thing.
And if memory serves, the conversation what you eavesdropped on was the Inquisitor berating some admin or mayoral individuals,
was-
saying, "Your city's fucking weird, dude. Stay
Yeah,
out of
the
my
Inquisitor
way."
said something. You used the term magistrate, and it was seemed like the magistrate was in some sort of trouble with the Inquisition. At least, but Fidus wasn't able to gather anything other than just kind of it seemed a little tense, and that the tall Inquisitor is just a scary-looking motherfucker. So
Yeah.
it was bad vibes. Fidus noticed he was noticed, and he ran. But
And the Mechanicum, if I remember correctly, were kind of huddled in the corner away, not getting involved, but kind of involved in whatever was going on between the magistrate and the Inquisitor. Probably nothing. But the Inquisitor did seem bothered about how weird this place was. Do you guys know or remember anything about that conversation, about why it would be presented as weird, either at this moment or later?
He didn't like the statues.
He didn't like the statues. Anything else?
Trying to remember.
He was. I can't remember. There was something about the Mechanicum.
There's almost no presence of the.
So they like
Ecclesia.
had
Yeah, we don't have a lot of tech priests.
Well, you don't have. Well, you do have a lot of tech priests. You don't have. You have hardly any churches. There's hardly any ecclesiarchy.
That's right.
The actual, like, for a brief recap to those who aren't as familiar with 40K, it's a kind of an almost satirical look at a barbarous version of humans in the distant future, where a cult-like gothic religion, more or less, praising the Emperor of Mankind, is the prominent belief. And there are things to be truly afraid of, but the church is probably the one that most people are afraid of on a day-to-day basis, because if you're not, it's very, very much a Catholicism at a time that you don't want to be out of line. There's no excommunication. So it can be bad. You don't want the church to be mad at you. And there's churches everywhere, but not many here. And that's goofy. Even if the Inquisitor doesn't care about the religion of the Emperor, which he would, it's just weird that there isn't a greater presence. That's odd. In fact, it's a little suspect because where there is no presence of the ecclesiarchy, normally it's because people have fallen into other practices, which can be very bad. Heresy. Yep. So, it's goofy. Also, the Mechanicum is usually kind of left to their own devices, called upon, utilized, but not usually bossed around so much. Here, the Mechanicum seem to be rich people, Mechanicum. Mechanicum does as they're told. That's weird. That's very strange. So, that was a lot of it. And that came out a couple different points. So I think it's probably good to just say it all at once, because I know it was strung out over the course of the time we played. That information, there it is in one packet. We have the meeting that that Fidus peeped on. What happened next for our future folk?
We had was this the glitter bomb? Did we glitter bomb? Was that?
I was gonna say, was that when you spilled coffee on the sergeant? But I think that was, yeah, spilling coffee on the sergeant, because past is when this other one got run over.
I forgot about that.
First kill.
He didn't get run over. He decided that's where he belonged.
Inside the treads of a tank. Now, why was the tank there exactly, Baxter?
Well, Baxter wouldn't know why the tank was there.
Oh, I thought that.
That's the past.
Oh! I thought Baxter was the past. I'm sorry.
No.
Here we go, getting goofy again.
Well, I sort of commandeered it because I wanted it.
You did.
His name was Hubert.
That's right, Hubert the Tank.
True.
Okay, it's probably a good time to switch back to our team. We'll say team. What do you guys want? What color do you guys want? Green, blue, orange?
Who?
I will say I did use a fate point to successfully plant 2 stolen pieces of jewelry on the Inquisitor.
It was on
noticeably steal them.
It was on your captain. I thought.
I think it was the Inquisitor.
Was it
'cause,
the
like, you were
Inquisitor?
like you were like
Oh,
he
that's
grabs
right.
you. It was like really bad, and so I like used the fate point.
Because you needed to get out of it. That's right.
Yeah,
Yes.
because it like
Yes,
horribly
that's right.
failed because it was the Inquisitor. Yeah,
It was the Inquisitor. That's right. That's right. That's right.
it was.
Oh my
yeah,
God.
it was bad.
Yeah,
Somehow,
that was goofy.
so that was a thing.
And that
8 points are OP.
they are. It's kind of nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
And that was after we accidentally set the crowd ablaze with a faulty flashbang.
okay. So let's get to that in a second. Let's get to that
And
in a
that was
second.
a we. But yeah, okay.
Let's get that in a second. So let's go to the Pilar, D-Beck, and Sarah team. So y'all had your fun in the past. What was your present team doing the moment you were able to touch base with them?
We were, I think we were in the precinct, and
We showed up for
Yeah.
work.
we showed up for work, and something happened with like that was the coffee spill situation, I think. There was something about tea.
There
I
was
don't
tea.
remember exactly, but yeah.
Was that when I got my grilled cheese sandwich?
That was a little bit. later.
No, that was in the past. Wasn't that also in the past when we were trying to figure out
It wasn't.
what was
it wasn't
happening?
Oh no.
So-
No. That's difficult for me. I had this all plotted out in a line. So let's talk about it when we get to it. So let's go to what were you guys doing in the present?
So this is okay. The present. Yeah, I think we just showed up for work, and then all of the characters sort of came together. It was like I wouldn't say it was like a week after the party.
Yeah,
That's right.
it was a little bit after the party, and we were just showing up, and we were all called into the office at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we were talking to our captain, and then we saw out the window that everyone was freaking out there.
There was a kind of a show. What was happening?
Yeah.
Spectacle.
Everyone the Inquisitor was coming to the precinct, and so everyone was like, oh my god, please,
Schmooze
kiss my
and-
baby, or whatever.
Yeah. And now I think that's where we get to the did somebody say faulty? Something about a faulty flashbang? Because everybody was covered in. Do you guys remember glitter?
The glitter
There was
cannon.
a glitter cannon of some kind. I think somebody insisted on having some kind of a fire extinguisher style backpack with glitter in it, and you were hosing everybody down in celebration. And then there was a flashbang that went off
We were trying to disperse the crowd.
with
Yes,
glitter and
because
then
the
a
Inquisitor
flashbang.
was coming. Because the Inquisitor was coming, all of the assembled masses were like, "Oh my goodness, Inquisitor!" And so we saw that, and we, as the space FBI, warned the crowd, "Hey, disperse, or riot control measures will be used." And because this is a hoity-toity, never been told no, or in any way, shape, or form policed population in their entire lives, they were like, "That's just noise to me."
Yeah, doesn't apply. Well, anyway, they got showered in effectively the ingredients for napalm, and then fire. I think
Hey.
some of you.
It was a faulty flashbang, first of all. So it was the maintenance guy's fault, not Vitus's. All right, let's be
I
clear.
remember very specifically when you rolled
Are we
for
clear?
it. It was like sparking, and you were like, "Yeah," it was like pulsing and like
Well-
kind of throbbing, and you're like, "It's
Yeah,
really
I
good."
looted it. I rolled bad on the loot, so like I got like a shoddy one, but like Fidus wouldn't have picked up on that because he's not a techie guy. So you just
Fair enough.
thought it was fine.
Fair enough.
So it's the maintenance guy. It's not Fidus. How could he? No, it's not his fault. Come on.
Actually, I think you'll find that it was the Captain Merrick's fault.
That's who
Exactly.
everybody blames. Yeah,
That's right.
That's right.
he's in some hot water.
Uh-huh.
Now, you have a Captain America in the present and a Captain America in the past. That's because
The Mercs have controlled that
related.
fucking Arbites station for
That's
their entire goddamn family line.
That's right. That's what they do.
Nepotism.
And it makes,
Multi-generational.
My job convenient. But the it is true, and the nepotism is real, and that's because that's just the way Floor One works. It's a bunch of passed on money. So the napalm, you guys were able to save some of the super wealthy people. Fun.
Yep. Started our disinformation campaign
Yep.
against our boss.
Yep.
Yep.
A
Got
very
feedback.
successful disinformation
It was pretty good.
campaign, I
It's
will
pretty good.
Yeah, they were really mad at us, and then we were like, our boss said to do it, and then they got really mad at the boss.
Yep. And then they had, I know that some of you were basically, some felt indebted to you for putting them out with your coats or whatever. Remember
As
this?
they should.
Yeah. It's pretty good. The Inquisitor, somebody rolled really well on their social check, and he thought it was funny. Or at least ridiculous enough to laugh at. Congratulations. Then, of course,
Fantastic.
the good folks in the present all together were kind of given an assignment at that point. And we'll get to that in a second. Let's go back to the past. When the partygoers players started in the past, what were you guys doing? So that would be the Roland Landoa and
That's
Nigel.
a good question.
Well, I do believe that Doa,
Do
I-
it. That's right.
yeah, he tried to shake me down for cigarettes.
I don't even have that in my
And-
notes, but yeah.
Did you give me any?
It's a core memory, I remember.
You remember what happened, son?
He shook me up.
Yeah, I did. Did you like it and shook up?
Yes.
Wow, that's awfully cute. So you guys had the
It's a win-win.
you guys had a lovely win-win. That's great. So were those cigarettes changed hands, or IO sticks as they call them in the 40K world?
I actually didn't have them.
Yeah.
All right.
I told him to let me know.
Okay, so what do you guys do?
I believe we were sent down to floor 3 because there was some sort of riot going on.
Yeah, people being displaced and their family members being dead or missing or something, and nobody was allowed to floor 4 or whatever.
So I
Riot.
believe I stole a vehicle.
And named it Hubert.
Hubert.
Oh, no. That wasn't Hubert. Not yet.
Mm.
That was on the
got
way
that.
back.
That's right. That's right. Because you guys went down
Buy these vehicles, right?
to floor 2.
Vehicle.
You stopped at floor 2, and they had just commissioned a whole bunch of PDF. Because you guys didn't go to floor 3 right away. You went to floor 2 on the great lifts that.
No, I think we went to floor 3, and then Doa sort of got manhandled and taken away, and
Ah,
he
yeah, yeah.
skedaddled.
Got like my jaw broken or nose broken.
Mm-hmm.
I think I still have the wounds from that. Yeah, so I have 2 points
Yep.
damage.
They can be tended to in time.
Right.
Then the PDF came down to floor 3, and that's when we found Hubert and went back up.
Very lovely. And then
And
there
we
was
tried
an unfortunate accident where someone piloting, driving, manipulating Hubert may have turned a superior officer into Chuck. Right?
Yeah, if I remember correctly, this is where we met up with the other team, because there was some sort of reporters hanging about, and I tried to disperse them.
Yeah, because our past team were heroes, and we were doing the news circuit
stuff,
where
yeah.
everyone was like, and what was it like being down there saving lives? And we were like, it was difficult. And they were like, yeah, I'm sure it was.
That's right. I remember getting caught by accident talking to the people. That was
Yeah, because we'd been prepped, but they caught you unprepped, and you were like, it was hard.
yeah. Many died. Too
So
bad we
many.
couldn't get all of them.
Now, okay, so this was the past.
Yeah.
And you were sent down there. What was going on in the future for you guys? I know there was more to it than... Well, so we'll get to that later. So you were sent down to investigate and to see how things were going, what was happening. What happened before the floodgates opened? There was an assignment that was given because you were sent to go check in with the head of the precinct on floor 4. The Arbites precinct on
Right.
floor 4. You were sent to go speak with her.
Mobbed.
Yep.
Yeah, she said that there was some kind of trouble, that the tech priests were like doing something, but she didn't really understand what it was, so she couldn't really convey to us what the problem was.
And she had said...
And it was,
Go ahead.
but she said it was happening over in a certain area, that they were like working on something or looking at something, and she wanted us to go check it out, I think is what happened.
And they had kind of enlisted your help in the process of turning the prisoners, people beyond redemption, into servitors, I think, right?
That was in the future.
That was in the future, excuse me. I remember it happening to you guys. So that was in the future. You guys had that happen. Was that right before you had the run-in with the group? I think it was, wasn't it?
Yeah, our group was sent on a separate assignment to help the tech priests
Yes, of course.
by just kind of like ushering prisoners into their tent.
Where they...
Oh, yeah.
But it was boring and soul crushing, and we were taking psychic damage for having to do that to people.
Yep.
And we ended up talking to someone who's like, "Oh, are you going to also talk to the captain about the thing for the dive team?" And we're like, yes,
Yes, we're
absolutely,
definitely
that is
doing
what.
that.
A moment.
Goodbye, and then we dipped
Just a
because
moment.
that job
The
sucked.
dive team was a direct reference to the party's conversation where they'd announced a way they thought they could drain floor 4. The dive team was the most
Yeah, the
recent of teams
Future
sent
times.
to find out what's going on. And this dive team was apparently the point of conversation that you were riding the coattails for to get the hell out of there. So out of there you went. What happened?
We found the precinct, and we went
And
in
this is
to
floor
talk
3.
to the it was me and Pilar and Debek, and we went in there and we were talking to the receptionist who was like whatever. And so we we found the lady we needed to talk to for the dive team, and she was being
Yeah.
super weird.
Yeah,
'Cause
like
she-
she was malfunctioning
shady.
somehow.
Yeah. She was like reading papers but repeating the same things kind of.
Yeah.
And she
Yeah,
kind of
like-
talked to us, but not really.
And you guys had
It was
perception
almost like
checks,
she
I
was
remember.
stuck in the past somehow.
Well, and
This is where the sandwich happened.
that's right. This is what it's
Yeah.
This
One
lady
of them,
here,
yeah.
this lady here was with a failed Medicaid check and a failed perception check. There, you couldn't determine that she actually had the reading sickness. You can basically consume too much knowledge and force it in with augments and implants in the 40K world that your brain just stops really working, and you kind of just do that. And she was, who knows how many years she'd been like that, but not really, no lights on.
Yeah, no
Yeah.
one checked on her in a while. But we
Yeah.
did find a servo skull.
We did find a servo skull. We also found like the belongings of the dive team
In
that nobody had heard from in a while.
And that was in the office of the captain.
Yeah.
And the servo skull was kind of like stealing papers from that lady. And then,
Delivering them to another lady.
yeah. And what it really wanted was a book that it was trying to take from that woman. And so we managed to wrestle the book out of her hands and then followed the servo skull.
And where'd you go?
Upstairs?
I think so.
Around.
Yeah.
Same building.
Yeah, same building. Just upstairs. And there was a lady up there who asked to copy the book, and then she gave it back to us and said that someone would ask for it. And I rolled well enough that even though she couldn't be remembered, not really, I also caught her name.
And what was the name?
Her name is Moira.
Okay. And then what did the book say?
We can't really read it.
What if you could read?
We can read some words, but not really. And we don't understand what it's talking about.
Okay. And I remember that, D-Beck, you could see more than the others.
Yeah. I rolled well on a perception check.
I remember you rolled poorly enough on a perception check that you could read some. You could read some because you... It was like a poor roll, I think, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, oh yeah, you can read some of the book, which was a little unsettling to the actual players, but the people in the game, of course. Well, that's great.
You think you're right. You think
That's
you're right.
fantastic.
100%.
So, okay, so that team has a book now, and some weird woman with a servo skull stealing papers from the out-of-office captain.
And while we were waiting for her to copy the book, D-Beck ate her lunch.
Yeah,
Yep.
he did. That was really nice.
It was a really nice lunch, if I remember right.
And it
It was
was
like
on
a
floor 3.
super high end.
Yeah.
grilled cheese.
Kind of sus.
Is this the
Actually,
grilled cheese?
didn't raise any red flags for you guys. I do remember that. Nobody noticed, really.
Because we're from floor 1. Of course we eat fancy cheeses and stuff.
That's right. That's right. All right. Where'd you go next?
We decided that we needed to report this to our superior officer because it was really weird.
That is where you ran
For some
into the
reason-
crew with the...
Yeah, it didn't occur to us to arrest Moira.
Yeah, it didn't pop up. I was like, all right. Okay. Well,
I guess because I'm just going to say it's because we were like, what is this?
So just taking it back. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you're all bites. You can do whatever you want. So, but the not arresting Moira, cool. So you guys then went to floor 1, and that's where you met up with the Napalm crew. I don't really know if you guys have a band name yet, but that kind of seems...
Yeah, because we arrived as everybody was being napalmed, and we registered first aid.
Yep,
That's right.
that's right.
I forgot
Okay.
about that.
So that's where I just wanted to make sure we put that in because it was important for the... Yeah. So, the present. You're right about to be sent somewhere. Cool. The past. So, there was a horrible flood. There was an interview where you guys had some elevator mischief, we'll say, where sergeants are being ground up. And what else is going on there? In the past, you guys are all together now. Some of you hot off the press. Some of you goofing around on elevators and tanks. What happened next?
I believe we just kind of started going down.
Because you
Just
were...
down. And
Told-
in hopes to find why the gates were opening, right?
Yeah, you got to find out what's going on. Because...
Yeah, we were
so
sent
we
down.
went down. Yeah. rather than out, which is what I've been wondering for a minute, but that's out of character.
Yeah, you were sent
I think
down
we went down-
because. Go ahead.
I think we went down to the second floor to the police department
Mm-hmm.
because we got some followers, and we traded in Hubert, which really
Right.
kind of made me mad.
Yeah, we got some lackeys. What were their names?
Jeremy,
I know.
Yeah,
I know that
George.
they all have names.
Frank.
I know one of them is Frank, I think, just because it was
One
really
of them
funny
was
to me.
definitely Frank.
And
I have
Was
it on
there
its
a
own
Hank?
card.
Maybe
Maybe-
were
one
they
of
all
them was
Frank?
Charles.
I know you got 6 friends.
They had to have been all Frank.
They could be.
Charles was left behind because of meeting the cultist underground.
And I think that's probably the next thing. But so you guys went and got reinforcements, basically some backup, because you were just supposed to go find out what the hell's going on, because there's a lot of rich people who are going to be a little less rich if this shipment doesn't move as planned.
Also, they don't want refugees coming up to floor 1 because ew.
The idea. The
Indeed.
idea.
They're very gross.
Also, it was harvest time, so people
Need to get
obviously
back to
weren't
work.
going back to work because they were
Right.
very mad and also scared and frightened and displaced and wanted to know what happened to their family. And so they were rioting because they were like, this is bullshit.
True.
Yeah. Well, we know that it eventually gets taken care of. Things are pretty well back to normal, even though you're missing a full floor in the future, but that's whatever else. We already know what happens to undesirables. Serve their
Indeed.
life. So, but the crew were sent down to investigate, and you were basically given access to the sub-levels of the hive. Remembering this?
Yeah, we have a key.
And it basically just allows for deeper access to the hive, maintenance, power structure, water.
Right.
Yeah, we end up in the maintenance shafts, kind of, because we can't go to floor 4 because the elevator can't do it. I don't think.
Well, and the reason that there are real sub-levels, the reason it's not above ground, is because this planet was originally, during the golden age of man, pilfered for its resources, and the original residents of this planet were expunged. The mines, though, that they used went deep to pull out the only vein accessible without more effort than it was worth. And so digging, that's where most of their efforts were, and it's where a lot of the power structure was set up, that the hive would eventually be built over. And you're kind of delving into this structure. You're going down into these old shafts that nobody's been in for who knows how long. And what happens when you start to you go into the sublevels? What's going on?
Odd happens. I kind of been getting foggy at that point because we're kind of in similar spots in the future and the past. So it's like
It is
in
difficult.
my head, I'm getting I'm a little blurred of like, wait, was that
It's difficult.
the future or the past? Yeah.
Well, okay. Does anybody have any recollection of what happens in the past scenario?
I think that's when we encounter the cultists,
Yes.
Yes.
and there are some people that were able to, like, they're kind of like hostages of the cultists, but they're people that are survivors from the 4th floor.
From the floor 4 being
We're trying to
drained.
help them. Yeah.
Or leakage.
And then
Spillage.
flooded. Yeah. And then there is some kind of a firefight. I don't remember exactly what happened, but there
Oh,
was
there's
definitely,
Very quickly.
I think somebody used a plasma cannon. Is that
Pistol,
right?
yeah.
Am I wrong?
Yeah,
Plasma
yeah.
pistol. Yeah.
We took
Yeah.
it from them.
Yeah.
Pretty high tech.
Uh,
Some
and then
randoms.
we were able to subdue or kill some of the cultists, and we left some of the PDF guys behind to sort of like maintain the status quo. And then we found a hatch, and we went down the hatch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we tried to interrogate the cultists, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that
Yeah,
was like semi-effective, but not quite.
That was the poem.
Mhm.
That's right.
That's right. Mhm.
That was the
We had-
poem.
We had a heart-to-heart, literally.
And then you stopped his heart.
Yeah.
R.I.P. Jared.
He
Yeah.
he couldn't handle it. He couldn't handle it.
He
That's right.
couldn't.
Not many can.
Okay.
Those children thought we were heroes, though.
Yeah, they did.
That's true.
Yeah,
They
they
did.
did. Yeah, they did. And you guys saw that there was kelp that had come down
Yes.
because it came in from the outside, and it was just kind of there. And I remember,
But it was like it was the unusable kind of kelp. Like,
yeah, it was more the stalk, not what is up near the top, what you normally collect and harvest. It's kind of like the stalk of the kelp because some of it had been ripped up from the ground by the current.
right.
And
I'm also remembering that one of the PDF guys that we left with them was knocked out,
mm-hmm. He was
or like
That's right.
he was way out of it.
Mhm.
And I can't remember why, but it wasn't
think
because he
he
got
was
like hit or
shot.
anything.
he was shot.
Yeah,
He was
he
shot?
got-
it was
he
during the
was-
firefight.
Yeah, he got messed up. Did you take 2 of them with you, or did you leave them all there?
I think
don't
we just-
remember.
I believe you
just
took 2
left.
with you.
We
We
left
took
fucked up
one.
guy there, and we were like,
For sure.
"You take care of these people, fucked up guy." And they're like, "He's not awake," and we're like, "It'll be fine."
Yes,
And
whatever.
then they were
just,
like, "What do we
shake 'em.
do?" And we said, "Take all the shotguns off of the people who were harassing you."
Yeah.
What the fuck? And we did.
Yeah, because we can't take them back up yet, because the elevator won't go up.
Not
Unless we make it go up, but
Yeah.
we can't go back up unless we figure out what the fuck is going on.
Yeah, so
it's more.
and we don't want the people to have our key to the elevator, so
No,
we
no.
left them there, and we told them we would come back for them.
You'll be back for them. And the maintenance hatches that you're going into
Hopefully, they'll be okay.
are because there are the main shafts that were used for mining, and there are pumps used for the mining process. There are pumps that pump water down and pumps that pump water up, because when the original settlers, we'll call them, pillagers, whatever, when they showed up, they needed water for the drilling machines to work properly. You need water. There's water everywhere on this planet. You pump it down for the slurry. You have pumps that pump it out. It's a give and take with these systems, but they need to be maintained. And so there are effectively 3 pumps, or three sets of pipes that run parallel to each of these shafts. And you have been traversing the pumps for these different shafts as you come across them and decide to go into whichever one you're using for the moment. Obviously, they're not in use right now, but you're walking around in them, and as you descend, you get to effectively a grate in one of these pump shafts. I remember this pretty specifically. In the past, there was an incident where you guys kind of triggered the response whenever kelp gets built up at one of these grates, because it was a system that the original people who set it up, kelp was there then too. It would get built up, and there was a purging mechanism. And to avoid being purged at this grate, you guys were like, "Oh, we need to go into the maintenance area right over there right now. We have to go right now." Couldn't get the door
Casually,
open.
Slow time.
Casually.
Leisurely walk.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And
No need to hurry.
you messed up the door pretty good, and that became a problem for future you. And let's put a bookmark right there. The future crew, after you got together, you were at the Arbites office. The Inquisitor was there. He was like, "Wow, well, that was a much more exciting welcome than I am normally greeted with. Rich people on fire. How about that? You don't see that a lot. I got work for you guys to do. Catherine, get the hell out of my new office. Merrick leaves, of course. Asks if he can bring you lunch, and I think one of you asked for something in particular. Was it a grilled cheese then too?
Yes.
So
I think so.
You're a freak.
Yeah,
Future
run through
and
with cheese for
past
the table.
DBEC know what they want, and it is
No.
some grilled cheeses.
You know what you want. Okay, so you send the captain for your grilled cheese, courtesy of the Inquisitor's beckon. So, great. Love that. What does the Inquisitor beckon? What does he want you to do?
It gives us the litmus test of, hey, can you read this super cursed, you shouldn't be able to read it book? And when all of us definitely say no, because we definitely can't,
And believe
he's like, great, your Hive World soup's fucked up. Because of the aforementioned weirdness regarding the ecclesiarchy. But says soup's fucked up. So because you guys are basically less corrupted or less involved and don't have the same sort of like integration into the systems that are stanky, I'm going to take you out, pluck, 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 and send you down to see what the fuck is going on and why your city's so weird.
And do you recall anything in particular about that assignment? Was he saying anything at all? Just like, hey, if you have to find out what is going on, why, where, who. Were there any specifics you guys
Yes.
remember?
Yep.
Good.
He said that he wants to check out floor 4 because they are planning to drain it.
Mm-hmm.
And there doesn't seem to be a good way to get down there. And that's when the team I was with, since we'd already done the dive team stuff, we knew that there were maintenance shafts that the next team was going to try.
You brought that up, and he was like, oh.
But that's all I remember.
Okay, yeah. And so you basically were to cut a hole in that and descend into the maintenance shafts to take the long way, basically, down to floor 4. Okay.
Yeah.
And that is where
Maybe
you guys kept taking little divergent paths into the different mined out areas, and there was some loot to be had. What was that, Nigel?
He also told us to avoid contact. I have that written down for some reason, and ignore orders.
Yes. You were given total permission to do as you see fit. Working under what would be an Inquisitor. He's going to be. He's just not there yet.
Like Inquisitor in training.
Yeah. But everyone's still pissing themselves because that's this world. So, basically, he sent you there and you were able to get away with stuff you wouldn't be able to, even though you are Arbites. If some super rich generational blue blood was like, please stop and pick my flowers for me, you can give him the finger and keep doing whatever you want. That's nice.
Indeed.
But the team,
He also gave us stuff.
yeah.
That's
You were
right.
outfitted,
You
yeah.
give it,
And
They have his gaudy ass crest on him.
they do. They're all marked, stamped, imbued.
Because I got a hook shot.
You did.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Got
And
a full body armor set that looks like a fancy jacket.
and then
I got
know
a rifle without a scope.
you did. Yeah, man, you couldn't roll to save your life, man. Okay, and I know that
It's a nice rifle.
it is. It's a nice rifle. And then I know that there was it a platinum or like a full silver mechadendrite that Nigel got for a cane?
I got a robot arm.
Yeah, you got a full mechadendrite, like just like bougie, just walking around with like a fur hat, like tinfoil hat. Excuse me.
Well, I'll be wearing it now, I believe.
Oh, okay. Well, So
that's in the future.
yeah. Now, you guys are then sent down, and you take different offshoots. What would you say would be the first plot pertinent thing that you found as you checked out these little shunts down these mined out ways?
I believe we found some bodies.
Mm-hmm.
It's like adult male and female and 2 children. That's all I have.
They were like, were they burnt, or was that something else?
That was something
I think
else. That was something else.
I think
Okay.
I think we got a weird vibe when we touched them.
That was when, that was I would say that's
Or that was
a little bit past what I'm looking for, but that was definitely something you guys did find. You were in one of the maintenance tubes, and you found another grate, and you found what was effectively the notes of this family that were displaced a long time ago, and they were trying to find a way out. They found this grate with all the kelp, and they were purged. You found that there were some who had hidden in little nooks as the purging or the water pumping was turned on automatically. It was not great. It was unpleasant. A lot of dead people. But before you got to that, was there anything that you guys found in the notes of the machinery that you saw ambiently left, just almost idling until it was eventually shut off on its own? There were large construction vehicles from the original mining, thousands of years prior.
I remember that, but I don't remember any of the details.
You
Was
kind
this
of
when I
said-
surfed on top of one?
What was that?
Did
no,
I
no.
surf on top of
Yes, but effectively you have these notes because they were taking notes, and when you guys could get a computer to work when you rolled super well, the notes are effectively saying, okay, we can't use conventional heat-based drilling because of the nature of, they're just looking for coal. This is basically just oil and coal that they're on this planet for. It's not super common that so much carbon-based life in the form of this kelp has been present for so long that it's created effectively fossil fuels. And they wanted it. And so it's oil and coal, just the classic stuff that the original people were here for. And the heat-based drilling combusted an entire vein. And without, again, putting in more effort than it's worth, they'd like to keep using this particular entrance. And so they had to seal off entire ways in order to stop the fire, which is still burning a little bit, even after all this time. Any of this making any sparks for you? Remembering this?
Yeah, we blew up a vein
Somewhat,
and they
yeah.
sealed it off with a big
Yep.
old door.
Pretty much. And there were a couple of these style of doors. And I remember one of you guys opened one or something?
Yeah, Petal said, "Hey, there's a big old button to push. You want to push?" And he said, "Absolutely."
It's good stuff. It's good stuff. All right. And it was then that they basically said that they needed to use the old-timey spinning metal drill method. Because they actually had to get at this ore, and it's why the water system was implemented. And you can see that they were like, okay, we need to maintain these things because the deeper we go, it's getting closer to bedrock. This is difficult to get through. And so you're seeing more and more broken machinery the deeper down you go, because they realize that while during the golden age of man they could do whatever they wanted, they didn't bring everything to every basic excavation or mining site. They had underestimated how difficult it would be to keep drilling. So they brought in better stuff and kept going. And you're kind of seeing the struggle as they continue down. And you get to a point where I think that you guys really, really first come into peril. Do you guys remember this? It has to do with D-Beck surfing.
There was a
it
hole.
the carts?
Yeah. I had to use my hook shot.
You did. Yeah. You basically found yourself on a system that had carts shuttling in and out because this was a particularly long shaft. And who wants to walk it? That's silly. So there were basically just carts for shuttling to the entrance and deeper. And there was a hole, basically. And there was a fire beneath it. And you guys almost died. Anything?
Lightning bolts, or not lightning, light bulbs that were like popping, like the sound, and we were all getting kind of like fuzzy, and like our ears are popping and stuff.
Yeah. There was a hum, and there were vibrations happening. Do you remember the vibrations happening?
Yeah, I don't think any of us noted what it was at the time, or really. We kind of spoke up about it, but we just moved along.
Yeah, you would hear this.
It was strange.
This hum that would overwhelm anybody who failed to check. And then the only release from that hum would be the enormous quaking of everything around you for a moment, and then it would stop. And then after a time, the light hum, the feeling of an enormous pressure in your heads, and then again, release with the enormous quaking of everything around you. Okay. Sus, sure.
Very sus.
There's no reason to believe that huge earthquake-style quaking is bad on this planet. Right? So, what about your other crew? So this was your present crew. What about the past?
Didn't we find ourselves down? Didn't we find a giant like room, like an antechamber? Am I getting ahead of myself?
There are
With like runes on the walls.
It was a huge shaft because they had talked about seeing a particularly large vein, and so they went full Monty on this one. It was huge, and this particular vein that had been fully drained out, you can see they committed a lot more to it. But yeah, when you walked out into this room, this enormous drill shaft, you had found that people had been messing around. Do you guys remember what they were doing?
Something with the walls.
Heresy.
Yeah.
It was heresy for sure.
It was definitely heresy. Some people.
They were putting stuff up on the walls.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, who was?
Cultists.
Yep.
Probably the cultists, but we hadn't found the rest of the cultists yet, so.
Okay. So you hadn't found the rest of the
Well,
cultists.
that's where it gets a little. That's where it gets wonky, because we know that the cultists exist because the future people found the records that said there were cultists.
And we also
when we went
encountered
further
them.
down, we found the people who said, yeah, there were a bunch of cultists here when we landed, and we killed them. But we, in the past, have not set eyes on, like, a conglomeration of cultists yet.
Yeah, just some randos.
Indeed.
So, that's weird. So, they were basically taking the pieces of the equipment that they were burning runes into and putting them on the walls. And some of you guys passed, some of you guys failed the basically vibe check of these rooms to varying degrees of affectation. Nothing serious. And then what happened to your past crew? Do you guys remember how you guys actually kind of ended things.
CC ascended.
Yeah.
It's true. I know
The-
Zuri.
There's something wrong with
got
that dirt.
Yeah, Zuri got
Yeah, sketchy
like
dirt. Mm-mm.
started seeing something or thinking that she saw something in the runes and was like, I can see it. Like that, well, obviously, but she was entranced by the runes and like thought she was like putting things together. And I don't remember if she was actually or not, or if she was just losing it.
Fair enough. Yeah, and that's a very reasonable thing to question, and it's hard to say without. Yeah, that's a good question. So, okay, so the future saw records. There were cultists. You guys found cultists holding the. Or no, I'm sorry. You guys found records of cultists saying that the past people there had purged them. Okay. Well, your past people see people hanging runes on the wall. Seems to add up pretty nicely. Did you run into anybody else down here?
Not
We didn't
yet.
see people hanging stuff on the walls, but we did see the people who were taking stuff down with their flame and plasma cannons.
That's right. Who were they?
Future people.
Future people. Yeah.
Yep.
Now, it's important, I think, to point out this isn't future people like from your future. These are people who were passing by, and because the warp is terrible, that's their faster than light travel. They got stuck here in your planet. They just got stuck. Literally, ship in stone. Like an episode of Star Trek. It's no good. And the crew is pissed, and they would like to leave. But something has pulled them here, and they believe, from the brief explanation they gave, that it was this rune nonsense that actually acted like a magnet when they were coming by. They got stuck in the rock because of these goddamn runes on the wall.
Yeah,
Now
they're
they
taking
need to
them
take them
down.
off so they can hopefully leave. That's the idea. So, you were kind of drafted up by somebody of this party. I know it was a huge escalation of things, but you basically found what'd you find?
Inquisitor.
Anyone in particular?
Hasn't been confirmed yet, but we found we found an Inquisitor.
You found an Inquisitor. It's probably not going to come up that all of your gear has a baby Inquisitor before they were real Inquisitors seal branded into it,
Shh.
and you happen
Sure,
across.
it's important.
It's probably just not going to
That
come up.
Inquisitor did think it was very funny when he saw our gear.
He did.
Yeah.
He did laugh, but it's probably not going to come up. So, funny.
It's totally gonna come up.
What? Spoilers. Is there anything else you guys remember?
According to Nigel's notes, this is where Fidus gets something.
Because you guys were all kind of given whatever supplies you thought you would need from what they had available.
Yeah, they want us to go track down the cultists.
Yeah, and that mechadendrite arm got installed.
It did. And
Yay.
yeah. Okay. Well, and
And I had to restat pedal to be able to lift warhammers, so now I get a warhammer and a plasma rifle.
yeah. So that's where things were just about. Unless you guys have any notes here, anything that you.
I remember getting a crate of grenades at one point.
Yeah. Pretty much.
We
yeah.
have that little floating loader dock thing
Yeah.
that we were taking around.
It was just a transport, just a.
That was
basic-
Patha.
Yeah, that's a past you who found the.
Yeah.
We had it loaded up with supplies, right?
Yeah.
Yep, that was where you were
Stuff.
transporting the
Yeah.
people around with. Okay, well, I think that's just about it too. Now, Noah, if you want to roll next time, I think it's probably going to be the best for the gear. Mostly because I don't have the table out right now, but the The roll for that we can do next time, if you're all right with that.
Yeah, that works.
Cool.
I mean, I'm not dusting off my dice.
I know, I'm sorry. But yeah, we just wanted to do a recap. I've got mine, but I just, would assume keep this as a recap and make any kind of actual progression in a session that we can just pick up and start going from. Is there anything that you guys have questions about or want to talk about as far as the sessions go going forward? As far as I'm concerned, it's same time, same day until you guys have any issues.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sorcery?
We're
Nope,
kind
sounds
of
like party.
It feels good. Feels good to be back.
Yeah.
Sweet. Well, I'm game. And is there anything as far as the plot goes that you guys want to bring up or have any questions about? Well, that I can answer for you.
Yeah, I think the only questions I have, we're gonna have to play to answer at this point. I feel like.
Yeah.
All right. I know it's confusing. And I do have this week off, so I'm going to be able to make some pretty art with Sarah's help. Don't worry, it won't be my art. Don't worry. But some better mapping, so it's going to be a little more clear. The stuff that I've made, I do have diagrams, but you don't want to see them. You'll be more confused than you were. I have a whole folder of them that is. I even pulled up, and I was like, oh yeah, that's right. That's why they don't. Okay. So, you're welcome for not showing you that yet. You'd be more confused than you are. So, this is going to be color-coded. And I will have that for you guys independent of the stream, and then we'll have it on the stream, and you'll see it there. But, the actual sessions, I think that just about covers it, unless there's anything else you guys remember that we're forgetting.
Jer said family Jer sees you as a guest, so that's kind of a thing to keep of note in the past.
Oh, that's right.
But
And
he also said that Azzo was having a gunpoint, but well, again, I guess we'll see how this kind of plays out. I think we haven't had that.
This is after your
conversation.
intense, beautiful moment, so it's a 50-50.
We haven't really had
He
that.
died
interaction
gloriously
yet
in battle, and we're going to tell his family that.
Weekend at
That's
Bernie's. We had that conversation. That's true. Do you remember this now?
And the major export of oil from the kelp is because it's a fantastic lubricant. And you guys use it everywhere in all of your personal dealings in the actual hive. And the green from the kelp is used in a lot of the garb, especially around the festival time, which is happening, well, it's just starting. And the fiber from the kelp is what everyone's clothes are made out of. And the more wealth someone has, they have more color than green or variations of it. And maybe silks or something. But primarily, this hive is revolved around this extremely stable, consistent thawing, harvest, freezing, chilling, party, thaw, harvest, etc. And it keeps going. It's been going that way for a long time, and nobody's really aware of anybody down here where both of your parties are. So, there we go. Not so stable at the moment. True that. So, I think that's about where we're going to end it today. I think that's a fantastic recap, and we'll actually make some more progression next week. And I'll be sending you guys some documents in the Discord. Cool?
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Well,
Do it.
I will. I'll see you guys, well, shit. Next week. You guys are going to be the first session I'm back.
Hell yeah.
That's going to be the whole thing. I'm on vacation, so Sunday is going to be the day. I'm ready. And, well, catch everybody